My name is Joanne Doddy. I am Principal Teacher at Covert Primary School. From 2016 to now, we have been on our rights journey from bronze all the way to gold. When we started the journey, there definitely was a softer approach to it, and there was not the depth, it was much more surface. And I think what's happened now is our teachers have a greater sense of the articles, what that means, our community does, the parent body. And because there's been such depth to it over the years, it's become a very natural process. What we're seeing now is that our primary 2 and 3s, even despite lockdowns, have a really sound understanding that this is a rights school. They've not known anything previous to this, so it's really much embedded in their ethos and their understanding of who we are as Covert Primary.
My youngest son Luke has actually been involved in rights respect in schools right since his first year in primary 1. So he has actually, I think, grown up with the concept of rights being embedded. Initially, it's just knowing that they exist, knowing that children have rights. What they do is the class charters, which Luke has experienced all the way through primary school. And those class charters are absolutely fantastic because what I've seen is the whole class come together. There's a lot of talking and discussing about what they think is important and what they want to set as their charter for the year ahead. I think that engagement with the pupils on that level is absolutely fantastic. I haven't experienced that kind of before, that level of sort of involvement in setting their own expectations. Having them involved in that process then ensures that they actually sort of abide by or live by or champion those rights.
I'm Kate Allen, so I'm one of the education advisors at ScotDec, which is the Scottish Development Education Centre. We work with teachers and youth workers to explore global citizenship and how we can support learning for pupils in schools. So I think one of the really key things about how Covert have approached their rights journey is that they have very much seen and been really passionate about the connections. It's been very much about how to support people's voice, to really think about the holistic reasons for wanting to complete the Rights Respect in Schools Award and to go for it. And because of Joanne's knowledge and expertise on global citizenship education and the way that she's brought that into the journey, she has made very clear connections and approached us to support them in thinking about the Sustainable Development Goals and how the pupils can take their learning forward with other pupils.
My name's Lorraine Budge. I'm head teacher of Covert in primary school. One of the areas that we felt needed a bit of work was pupil voice and pupils being able to make a change and make a difference, and for their voice to be shining through. So we've done quite a lot of work over the years trying to encourage that. Joanne Doddy, who is one of our principal teachers, and she had a real strength in the area of global citizenship, so it seemed like a great partnership to use her strengths and expertise. I knew that it was a great mechanism and vehicle for really promoting pupil voice and allowing their voice to come shining through.
Rights Respect in School has given us another forum to allow children to take up additional responsibilities in school life. So we have the Rights Respect in School Rangers, and those children have been put forward or nominated themselves and been selected to take forward that role. That added responsibility as well for those rangers has been really, really good to see, and I think they take that job and that role very seriously as well.
I mean, this has got to be one of my highlights and one of the joys of my role here at Covert Primary School is just the joy, I suppose, as well, to lead in that group, Foxy Rights Rangers. So for a while we were the Rights Respecting Group and it never changed its name, and a couple of years ago we decided let's change our name, what can it be? And this very much came down to the children. The children started dialoguing, having fun with it, and decided that it would be a good play on words to do Foxy. And then another child thought Rights Rangers was quite catchy, so they decided to put it together. And that is really what we're about with the pupil group. It's more of me being the facilitator, not the leader, and they take charge of the minutes, the agendas of the meeting, what they want to achieve, every week that we meet, even when we met online during lockdown, it was very much what they wanted to achieve and how they wanted to go about it. And also just them having that knowledge that not everything would be successful, and it was okay that they could learn from that and how would we tweak it going on in future. So all the things from being up to the local garden and creating an art display with one of our parents is an artist and having that on display for the community, down to speaking at the local church and creating their own presentation to go with that. It really is about them, and we get a real sense now from our elder pupils in P5, 6 and 7 particularly, that they see that this is their group, it's not about an adult leading the group.
For us, it has been about supporting the school with their ideas. They have brought the ideas to us and asked us to sort of think around different opportunities for learning. So for them, that has been very much a focus on peer education and the young people taking a lead, the pupils taking a lead. So we have then sort of gone away and thought, how can we support that? So our role within that whole journey has been really exciting, but it's been about coming in and thinking about what does peer education look like, and talking to the young people about, the pupils about the sustainable development goals, and thinking about how they can connect the goals and the targets to rights and human rights, and thinking about all those connections, and then thinking about how they can take that learning over through to other pupils. And that's been really exciting to see them sort of develop their confidence, but also it's more than that. It's very much about how they have really connected to the real kind of reason for why we have the Rights, Respect in School Awards. And you can see it in their sort of enthusiasm and their creativity and the games they come up with that they can, and the way they interpret it for other pupils. And I think that's really key, like how I might talk to people about the Sustainable Development Goals and rights is very different from how they would talk to each other.
Pupils and classes were assigned a different sustainable development goal to look at within their classroom, and we really tried to harness their understanding of that through poetry. So we ran a big poetry competition where the children used their learning from the sustainable development goal that they've been working on in class and introduced that through their writing. So that culminated in a big writing competition, and we had some guest judges and the kids came along and performed. It really was fantastic to see how the learning came alive.
One of the proudest moments I've had as being part of this group has definitely been when we've worked on the peer education sessions, and the children create their own lessons and together with ScotDec think of ideas and create their own lesson plans, gather their own resources and deliver the lessons in the classroom, but also in lockdown virtually. And with really no input from myself or the other teachers, they lead the 40-minute session with the pupils from the beginning to the main body of the lesson to the end, and getting feedback on things like teaching about rights and sustainable development goals. And for me, that sense of pride, seeing the children take ownership of these lessons and really having a sense of confidence around teaching it, so their understanding of rights had really developed, and then they had the ability to then go into a classroom and teach younger pupils all about that completely unaided, and the sense of achievement that they have from that is just fantastic, to the point where they now every year want that to be part of what we do in the Foxy Rights Rangers. Going forward, they want to do peer education sessions. So for me, peer education has been a big turnaround in what we do as part of that pupil voice group at Fox Covert.
Global citizenship education is really about developing those key critical thinking skills and enabling young people to really see the wider perspective and understand their school and their school community, and how they as a pupil at Fox Covert really have greater agency to make change and think about differences they can overcome, and really critically what Fox Covert do really well, and what we see this in schools time and time again, the schools that really embrace global citizenship education, is they move away from this real kind of charity response to inequality once they're learning around it and sustainable development goals, and they really understand that it's much more about building social justice and thinking about learning around these issues and that long-term ambition for young people to create change.
It's so great to see something come into fruition after 6 years of a journey, and with bringing people along with you on that journey with other stakeholders and the pupils, and seeing them flourish into real confident individuals who really have a sound understanding of their rights.